and the Instagram Live. All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are, depending on your time. Welcome to Rhythm Radio, where we gather most weeks, generally weekly, to talk about rhythms that shape our days, our bodies, our businesses, our lives, and it allows us to crush our goals without crushing our souls. Because that's what I believe. I believe we can go after the goals that we want without compromising our values and crushing our soul. So this month, we've been focusing on work rhythms. So if you want to go back and look at some of the other topics, we talked about prioritizing work. We talked about finding rhythms for optimizing your work, all kinds of things. You can find all the recordings in the Rhythm and Radiance Facebook group, and you can find them also on my YouTube channel, which is under my name, although I forgot to record once or twice, so you won't find them all there. Best to join the Facebook group, just in case I forget to hit that record button. And today I wanted to talk about, since it's our last focus on work rhythms, I wanted to talk about continuous learning and staying relevant in the workplace. And this goes for anybody, whether you're working in a corporate environment or you are an entrepreneur, or maybe you've got a combination, as I did for many years of my career, where I had the corporate gig and the side hustle. It doesn't matter. And this is a topic that's very near and dear to my heart, because continuous learning is a very key value for me. I am a lifelong learner. I find that I connect even more deeply with other lifelong learners. And I really feel that that's something that's super important. And in the workplace, as it pertains to the workplace, the world is different than it ever was before. So both of my grandfathers worked for their entire career, their entire life, in the steel mills of Pittsburgh. They actually both had side hustles. And in fact, I'm just realizing that right now. They also had side hustles too, but they worked for their entire life for the steel mill. And we don't see that anymore. People are changing, they're jumping from job to job. They are doing different hybrid combinations of their own business and part-time or full-time corporate work. But it's always important to still be learning. And I wanted to share a few thoughts on that. So I started out my career in HR, and when I would see a resume or someone or a hiring manager would tell me, oh, this person has 10 years of experience, I would always say, let's dive a little deeper into that, because it is very easy to have 10 years experience repeated. It's very easy to say you have 10 years experience, but really in reality, that is 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. So that could mean that person has achieved mastery in that, but it doesn't equate to growth. So 10 years of experience could be 1 year of experience repeated 10 times, unless that person has also committed to doing things for continuous growth and to stay relevant in the workplace. So one tip I would say about continuous learning is to be discerning. And what I mean by that is that choose carefully on how and what you choose to invest your time in. So maybe it is technical skills for your industry. Maybe it is the latest trends. Maybe it is really diving into the challenges and opportunities of your industry. And there are so many ways to stay relevant. It doesn't only have to be taking courses, right? There are, things you can be reading. There are networking opportunities. There are trade shows. There's industry news, all the kind of things. There's looking at your competition. There's so many ways to remain relevant. But in terms of taking any training or certifications or courses, be discerning. And the second piece to that is be intentional. So decide why you want to take this particular training, how it may factor in to your trajectory of growth in that company or in your career long-term. Be intentional. So choose carefully and be intentional. What I do see often is that, and I see this especially with my clients and entrepreneurs, and I think it can be a tricky slope to start sliding down, is that people grasp every single thing out there. There's so much content. I'm going to do this free webinar and this free 30-day challenge and this, 7-day whatever. And there's so much, you can get bombarded. And so it's a lot of information flying at you, and there's no plan for what you're going to do with that. And it's overload. It's overload for your brain, and it's like a little too haphazard, in my opinion. So be intentional as you're choosing, because what I see happening is that people get into what I like to think about is the content cul-de-sac. They just get content and more content and more content. And we are just showered with content constantly. If you go on social media, I mean, you are bombarded with content, and it's important to be discerning, be intentional, and then step out of that content cul-de-sac where you're just consuming content, consuming, taking courses, doing webinars, doing all the challenges, doing the freebies. And what happens when you get into that content cul-de-sac frequently is that you're not implementing it. So consuming content without implementation does not equal transformation. Let me say that again. Consuming content without implementation does not equal transformation. So in order to grow in your career, in order to perhaps get to the next level in your organization, perhaps to expand your business or your product line or your services in a new direction, you must implement what you learn. Now, that's not to say that there isn't continuous learning and, for fun. And, sometimes I'll just sit in on a webinar or take a course or something just for the hell of it, because I want to learn it. And that's a lot of times that's more what I look at for personal benefit, right? It's maybe going to be a hobby of mine or just a topic that interests me. I heard a speaker recently on astrology, and now I'm getting some astrology newsletters. I'm not planning on doing anything with that in my job, but it's a cool topic that I want to learn about, and that's fine. But that's my intention. It's just like an interesting topic for me. And that's not really what I'm talking about today. I'm talking about work rhythms and really being discerning about the continuous learning and content that you consume, being intentional about what your plan is for that, staying out of the content cul-de-sac and implementing that so you do have growth and transformation in your workplace. So that is the topic for today. Join me next month when I think I'm going to be doing morning rhythms for your morning. So have a radiant day and see you next time.